The whole world is fooled by the American establishment, the so-called peacekeepers and protectors of our world. They recently poisoned all your children with sugar, the oldest toxin on earth, from the apple. They caused the Iraq War, pummeled the whole country, destroying schools, hospitals, roads, railways, massacring 1 million people, 250,000 children, and they called them terrorists. They say Muslim terrorists are radicalized. How more radicalized can you be to think that it's right to execute 1 million innocent victims, 250,000 children, all because of a rule of law? A law, as I keep teaching you, that allowed them to cause the Iraq War, the worldwide recession, and get away with it, and to poison our foods with their chemicals. Alcohol makes people commit murder. Marijuana makes people commit murder and have homosexual tendencies. LSD causes promiscuity and homosexuality. And MSG is a food additive that has the same effects as LSD. They now have a drug that makes man eat man, a drug called cannibal. Therefore, this will prove that if they can make man kill man and man eat man, then they can make man sleep with another man. It is no secret the CIA have been experimenting on the mind since the late 30s, and when you understand the story in the Bible, their ancestors have been experimenting on our mind for millennia. Sugar is supposed to be a natural element, and look what it is doing to your children. Therefore, when it was exposed, tests should have been carried out on aspartame and MSG, and all the other man-made toxins they flooded into your foods. They trick you with words like additives, preservatives and taste enhancers. MSG is one of them taste enhancers. It is an acid like LSD. It is a lipophilic drug. It can diffuse straight into the cell by force, changing the mind of the cell. That is how LSD works. MSG can be made so powerful it will mask the taste of your own shite. It is a taste enhancer with a difference. Even if you don't believe me, I certainly wouldn't believe the controllers of science. They lied about sugar, and your water is full of cancerous elements, and your people are all full of cancer. They do not give a shite about you, just making money, and the fact that this current Irish government allowed sugar to stay in your foods and raised their wages is proof they are playing the little game with America. This was the same game they have played all throughout history. Don't anyone understand the story in the Bible? Jesus warned us about their foods and threw their money tables up in the air. He also spoke out against their laws, and using the law, they are soon to unleash all hell on your children. I grew up in London of Irish parents. All my ancestors are Irish. And I witnessed many experiments being carried out on the British people. They controlled them with chemicals in the foods, word sayings and slogans in the press. After slaughtering 1 million innocent victims, they called their troops heroes. And now they believe they have the right to massacre people and that it is heroic to do so. I would rather be radicalized to have the courage to stand up for what is right and to seek the truth and justice, as Jesus once did for us. That is what many of our brave men and women did for us, but sadly you have been manipulated to urinate all over their graves. You have been forced to accept science, a system forced on the Western world by the British Empire, and all my other documentaries and SoundClouds prove why we were warned not to eat certain foods in the Bible, foods created by science. The leaven or bread Jesus warned his followers of is a scientific experiment, and the story of the apple teaches where science receives its knowledge. The serpent, one of many forms of the devil. Dr. Weston Price discovered that white flour, the leaven Jesus warned his followers not to eat, and white sugar from the apple that the highest intelligent life force throughout the universe warned Adam and Eve not to eat caused the ruination of the Western world. The apple, as the story teaches, came from the mind of the devil, and it was made up of his elements. And science is now teaching you that you and everything around you is made up of elements. They have only taught you this after they have been allowed to defile everything, your water, foods and atmosphere. Not all the elements within you and around you come from the mind of the creator of all the good in nature. This is because science has defiled everything. Your water is cancerous, your foods are toxic, bacteria infested and cancerous, and so is your atmosphere. The earth we live on is being destroyed by the chemicals that are also destroying us. 300,000 Americans die each year from prescription drugs. The so-called products created for you to have fun, alcohol, cigarettes and hallucinogenic drugs all kill you and trick you to kill others. They have used the law to create chemicals to kill you and that compel you to kill others, and their science created the economy that pays people to go and massacre 1 million innocent victims because of a rule of law. Religion, science, royalty, money and the rule of law were all brought to the West by one group of people that now control all your countries, including Ireland, and they keep fooling you that Jesus was one of them. How small-minded can you get? America forces their way around the world, terrorizing everyone in their path, causing laws to massacre innocent victims. They force-feed them disease-causing foods, then tell them there are no cures, and are soon to stop people looking anywhere else with new laws. How more terrorized can you get when you see your parents dying of cancer or your innocent little child being born with a disease caused by the lies of science, and you have to witness them dying because of all the lies? Cheating, robbing, money-worshipping lowlifes that control science keep tricking you there are no cures. There is an immutable law, the law of cause and effect, which means to change the effect, you remove the cause. Recent headlines prove all the disease that sugar causes, but they have known, as Dr. Weston Price's research proved, also proved that they have known ever since their ancestors created the apple. What did all your useless low-life, good-for-nothing, money-worshipping scum do to protect you? They increased their wages and left all the disease-causing elements in your foods and water. The Americans also bankrupted and defrauded all your countries and now control all your governments. And in Ireland they are soon to implement a law, a diversity law, a freedom of choice act. This law will open the gates of hell for every misfit in Europe to descend upon Ireland, and you will have no say. That is why your current Taoiseach promoted a judge employed by Labour to the highest court, and your government will soon pass this law without giving you the vote. All Labour parties originate in Britain. They are one, and when the trouble in the Ukraine was caused, all Labour and Communist parties supported the uprising. The Labour Party was in power when the Iraq War was caused. Trouble seems to be their main aim. This was similar to what happened in Northern Ireland in 1972, that is now known as Bloody Sunday. I have shown you that while Labour were in power or their people were in high positions, all experiments were carried out on the populations. Even in Ireland, while Labour was in coalition with Fianna Fáil, the experiments on the Irish orphans were carried out, and recently with Fine Gael they changed all the laws and education, and most of the Irish government are secular, modern-day Sadducees, the people that Jesus lost his life to speak out against. In Britain, it was exposed that the Labour Party held drug-fueled homosexual orgies, and that is why they wanted to legalise marijuana and wanted homosexuality legalised. They didn't fully get what they wanted in Britain, so they came to Ireland and tricked the Irish to accept gay marriage. Individually, in your minds, once you accept a thought that is wrong, more wrong thoughts will be sent to your mind. That is why Jesus taught, do not harbour bad thoughts. He also taught you how they trick you to accept them by force-feeding you foods that contain other elements. that don't come from the mind of the creator of all the good, the apple and the bread. That is why he also spoke out against the rule of law, because people can also be tricked or forced to accept bad thoughts like massacring 1 million innocent victims, murder or gay marriage. That is why he warned, neither the murderer, the immoral, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor homosexuals, nor thieves, nor revellers, nor robbers, nor the greedy, nor the drunkards will enter the gates of heaven. Even more demonic, the Labour Party of Britain sponsored a paedophile organisation called PI, which stands for Paedophile Information Exchange. They awarded them £500,000. 3 of their top lawyers worked for this organisation, and one was deputy leader of the Labour Party, and they gave this organisation protection from the law. This organisation wanted the age of consensual sex lowered to 4, and a High Court judge at the same time founded an organisation that kept paedophiles out of prison. When this was exposed in Britain, they came to Ireland, and they are soon to completely change the constitution in Ireland and implement a law, a diversity law, Freedom of Choice Act, and your children will become targets for all the paedophiles of Europe. How the world cannot see that we are in the middle of another Roman Empire is beyond me. Governments holding homosexual orgies and wanting paedophilia legalised, allowing poisons in your foods, corrupt, deceitful lowlifes with no respect for another man's child. Things make a lot of sense when you understand what Jesus was warning us of, that some people in our world truly do worship the devil. Stephen Knight's brilliant book about the Brotherhood that exposed the Freemasons organisation proved that they do honour and worship the devil. Even the Pope in 1976, Pope Paul VI, confided to a shocked audience that the smoke of the devil has entered the very sanctuary of St. Peter's Cathedral. He also stated that he had knowledge of a midnight hour black satanic mass being conducted at the altar. Many previous popes referred to the Freemasons as a grouping of secret societies in the kingdom of Satan. Freemasons founded science, or modern-day science. Panorama, an investigative program in Britain, filmed a black satanic mass attended by world leaders, and this tape has now mysteriously disappeared. I watched that program. These people are truly descendants of Hebrew that brought the Kabbalah to the world, the demonic worshipping cult of the Hebrew, the esoteric science of the rabbi. Esoteric means secret, and it is no longer a secret that the British and American governments that both use science on their people had top secret departments. This was funded by the people, and then the experiments were unleashed on them. And these two nations do not understand who the real terrorists are. There are many ways you can control the mind, chemically, as I have shown you in your foods, water and atmosphere, vibrationally, voice commands, words, sayings and slogans that create laws, and sound waves and pulses that they now control with a system HAARP, H-A-A-R-P. I also witnessed this being tested out on the British youth. They sent pulses to their brain. So this proves that the subliminal side of this machine works. Therefore, it will also prove that the weather controlling part of this machine also works. And during the reign of the Antichrist in Britain, when the Iraq war was caused, this was when this machine was tested out, and his cohort in America was accused of causing Hurricane Katrina. They also control you visually, headlines in the press and programs on the television that flood your mind with images until you accept them. That is how you all learn to accept. Your parents show you and keep repeating the name of what they are showing you, and they stop when they know you have accepted by you repeating it. There are also people that go on and on until they change your mind to get you to go somewhere or to do something that may be wrong, like taste alcohol for the first time or smoke a cigarette. This is how they changed people's minds to accept gay marriage, by flooding the television with homosexuals. No matter how many minds they change in our world, the mind of the highest intelligent life force hasn't changed his mind. And if you want to follow his son, then you must listen to what he was teaching. They truly are the children of hell, and surely anyone in their late 30s or early 40s can see the world has drastically changed because the mind of the world has been altered by their chemicals. There were laws that made drugs illegal when I was a child that are now legal, and children were protected, but now there are far worse drugs in your foods. Recently you rose up against a water tax in Ireland, but not the cancer-causing elements in it, as the programme Prime Time exposed. You never rose up against the sugar tax because they taxed someone else, the food industry, but you allowed it to stay in, causing all the diseases your children now face. You fail to see that you have now become like them, as Jesus warned you, because of the science and their experiments and the rule of law. You now worry more about money than life itself. Can you eat it when there is no more food? Can you drink it when the well is dry or the water is rancid? And can it cure you when disease is eating you alive from the inside out, as it always did in all their empires? There are soon many horrific events to unfold in our world if we don't rise up and stop them. I have shown you that America caused the Iraq War, which led to worldwide terror, and they called them terrorists. The British did the same to all the Irish ancestors. But you fail to see a human instinct is to do anything to protect your people, but they have a law to stop you from doing that. They call you terrorists, but this law is used to force your children to massacre 1 million innocent victims, and the world forgets. Two wrongs do not make a right. I don't justify any violence or terrorism. The truth will make people see who the real wrongdoers and terrorists are. Their laws were also used to protect them from poisoning your children with their science, and soon this law is to be used to stop naturopathic healers from helping you. They deny you your basic right to protect life, while they use every trick in the book to get you to destroy it. I would rather be radicalized to uphold the truth and seek justice for my people and the people of the world. Who the hell said I had to be Americanized? Look at what they have done to their own people, a race-hate diseased society, and now their disease is being spread across our globe. They caused worldwide terror because of the Iraq War, and fear is the major controlling factor. They caused the worldwide recession, and poverty is another controlling factor. They caused all disease of body and mind with their scientific foods, and sickness and disease is another controlling factor. Their main control over you is education. They teach your children what they want them to know and not what they should know. They should be teaching them how to look after their body and not defile it with homosexual thoughts. Their laws forced your children to go to mass, and their laws also forced your children to go to school. Long before religion and science, you wasn't schooled. You had it inbuilt in you. You were all created by the highest intelligent life force throughout the universe, and in his likeness you were like him. You were all highly intelligent. You could think for yourselves. But now, none of you can do that, sadly. They have experimented on the mind of the world via the food chain, and that is why all throughout history you have been warned that you are what you eat, and food is for thought. Chemicals, vibrations and visual effects change your mind, and fear, poverty, sickness and disease and keeping the truth from you are their controlling factors over you. They blame everyone else for their wrong. They executed Jesus and blamed the world, and surely now you can see it is because of them that you have sinned. They tricked the world that God allowed for his son to be executed. This belief is insane. Would you knowingly allow your own child to be executed? No. It is a natural instinct to save life. And their natural instinct is to destroy it any way they can with their science, money and the rule of law. The highest intelligent life force throughout the universe would never send his son to be executed. He sent him to teach you. Would you knowingly do that to your child? No, but sadly many of you do because of their armies and their laws. Do you think you are higher than God? Unfortunately now you do, by accepting gay marriage when he said it was an abomination because it comes from the mind of the devil, caused by all his elements. Does anyone believe that they have the right to deny people their God-given right for truth and justice that his son came into the world to teach us of? No. But all your doctors, pharmacists, press, and your useless, good-for-nothing, low-life, money-worshipping governments think they have this right because they are now all in the control of this one group of people. Trust me, I am who I say I am, and I warn any member of the Irish government that if you allow what you have planned, then you better prepare yourself for hell. People of Ireland, they know I am here to teach you, and soon a terrible atrocity will be unleashed on your people, and they will blame the Muslims. They have psychologically programmed you to accept that God will allow for his son to be massacred, and they then blamed you because you sinned. Surely now even a pile of shite has enough intelligence to see what causes people to sin, their science. The British and Americans massacred 1 million innocent victims because they lied and said he had weapons of mass destruction, and then they said he was terrorizing his people. I ask you again, what is more terrorizing, to be force-fed foods that cause all disease and then forced to accept medicines that also cause disease and leads to death, and then lied to that there are no cures? Also to be radicalized that massacring innocent victims is right and justified. I grew up in London, and they controlled the press, as I said, that racially abused everyone bar their own kind. This seems to be continuing on a worldwide stage because they now control the world's media. People of Ireland, an act of terror is to be committed on your shores, but it will not be who they say it is. Their God is attempting to stop me from what I am doing. When Jesus appeared on this earth, he spoke out against one group of people that now control your foods, water, money, and the rule of law, and your governments. They brought their science with them, and I have shown you how they have drastically changed all your minds, and they are soon to turn you against the Muslims. As I said, Jesus never spoke out against Muslims nor Christians, and your government is full of the people he spoke out against. Your entire government to a man and woman cannot be trusted. You must stop them before hell is unleashed upon you. My ability is called channeling. It is communication with the world around you, the elements that make up the spirit world. That is why your ancients refer to this world as the elementals. Einstein said we send and receive signals to and from our brain. We do. The elements within you let you know you need food and water, and they communicate with the elements around you. Science has now completely changed all these elements. They have made you destroy yourself and others, and that is why you are the way you are, and the world is now the way it is. This is not how it was in the beginning, long before any of their religions or science, that both came from the mind of the devil. The Kabbalah, the demonic worshipping cult of the Hebrew, the esoteric science of the rabbi. If you believe in Jesus, then you must believe in the devil, and trust me, he does exist. Take a look around you, for crying out loud. I grew up in London and I witnessed all their experiments. They owned all the supermarkets and the press, and all the High Court judges were of these people. They created civil unrest in society with their racist headlines, creating fear in a society And many of my Muslim friends said, man, you are more racially abused than we are, and you are the same colour. Now they use religion to install fear across the globe. They have lied about the Iraq war, the recession and sickness and disease, and the world is now living a lie because they executed the truth and told the story the way they wanted it to be. Once you accept anything in life, you will accept it done unto you. Do unto others as you will have done unto you. So when you think it is right to lie and murder innocent victims, it will be done to you. And it is. Take a look at all your sickness and disease. Your food has always been their silent killer. That is why you were warned not to eat the apple and their bread. Now, because of their science, they now control all your foods. And there are only 4 companies that control food production and distribution for 90% of the world, and 4 pharmaceutical companies that control the medicines for over 80% of the world. These are the 4 headless horsemen of the apocalypse. Their laws keep the truth silent, and their money keeps all your useless, good-for-nothing, low-life, money-worshipping scumbags in the door quiet, and your press that are now infiltrated and controlled by these people. I have shown you how they can get you to kill each other, eat each other and sleep with the same sex. The elements of the apple force the body to produce estrogen. Soy has the same effect, and now the water is flooded with estrogen. Estrogen is the female sexual hormone, one of the body's thinkers and feelers. So when increased in the body, the desire for sex will increase, and when flooded into the body, the mind of the individual will change. It will think and feel like a woman. Not everyone is affected in the same way, and that is the same for alcohol. When increased in the body, the mind changes, and when flooded in the body, the individual loses all reason and become aggressive, violent, and even commit murder. People of Ireland, your government over the last 30 years are the worst in your entire history for what they have allowed to happen to your mind. Just because they accept something doesn't mean that it is right. The people deserve the truth, and you will never find it when you are being guided by corrupt, deceitful, useless, good-for-nothing, money-worshipping, low-life scumbags that have enforced the way of hell upon you. I have attempted many times to warn you through your press and government. I need you to spread this quickly. They are soon to commit a terrible act in Ireland. Pass it on quickly. We must stop them. The more people that know, we can all unite and act together. When you want to become anything in life, you must first think like who you want to be or what you want to become. And when you want to be an electrician, you need to think like an electrician. You need to be taught by an electrician. So how comes the world is the complete opposite to what Jesus once taught? A world of peace, love, harmony, health and happiness, as it was in the beginning, long before any religion or science, brought to the world by one group of people that keep fooling the world that Jesus was one of them. He did warn you they were children of hell, so who are you now going to believe, Jesus or them, that cause disease and tell you there are no cures? To hold this belief, you denounce Jesus, who was a healer. To hold the belief that it is okay to lie and cause a war and massacre innocent victims. You also denounce Jesus, who came to teach of peace, love, harmony, health and happiness. He was a torchbearer of the truth and light, and wanted justice for all the peoples of our world, no matter who they were, and not some so-called chosen race. It must now be obvious who they are the chosen ones of. And once again, people of Ireland, a terrible atrocity is to be carried out on your people, and the Muslims will be blamed. You must rise up and seek the truth. Only in truth shall you be saved, and in truth we can get justice for the Muslims, the Americans, the Africans, the Aborigines, the Maoris, our Irish ancestors, and all the peoples of our world. Rise up and seek the truth. Seek and you will find.